Fox Sports.
We are Buffalo. We are Florida.
South Florida tonight, baseball tonight for the Marlins. The Rockies are still in town. Seems like the Rockies have been here a while. It's a 4-game series. This would be game 3 of that series. A game apiece for the Fish. Look who's back. Chris Coughlin's back is okay. He'll be leading off for the Marlins, who try to get the bats going. The Marlins a little bit puzzled right now to their offensive struggles. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hunt. Very important game, very important 24 hours for the Marlins. Tomorrow is a noon game. Tommy, win the game tonight, and the Fish are set up nicely because J.J. goes tomorrow.
Yeah, and Rich, I think they have the right guy out there tonight. You could ask for J.J. or for Ricky Nolasco, and Ricky Nolasco gets the nod tonight.
And Ricky has seen the Colorado Rockies, and Ricky has pitched well against the Colorado Rockies. I know it was back in April sometime, but when Ricky faced the Rockies in Colorado, it was one of his best games of the year.
Absolutely. If you remember, it was the first game of that doubleheader in Denver. 8 innings. Ricky gave up just 7 hits and a run, and as he does so often, no walks in the game with 9 strikeouts. Ricky Nolasco is 4-0 with a 2.27 earned run average against the Rockies in his career. Now, his last 5 starts, 4 of those starts, Ricky's gone 7 or more innings. He's on a pretty good roll right now.
This is the midway point of a crucial 10-game homestand. The Marlins are actually 3-2 on it, but you wouldn't know it by the way they've been swinging the bats, Tommy. They cannot continue to swing the bats like this and finish this homestand with a winning record.
The Marlins need to get production from Hanley, Ugla, and Cody Ross. Hanley's 3 for his last 19. Dan Ugla 1 for 16. Cody Ross 3 for his last 16. The last home run by all of these guys early July or late June. Collectively, since the All-Star break, Hanley Ramirez, Dan Ugla, and Cody Ross are hitting 137 with 1 RBI. And remember, that 1 RBI was the bunt single of Hanley Ramirez.
So Ricky's on the mound. Jason Hamill is on the mound for the Rockies. Historically, the Marlins have handled him, but this year is different for him. Hamill has pitched very well. He's been the Rockies' second best starter over the last 2 months.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot about Jason Hamill. He's pitched very well at home, not so good on the road. We told you about Ricky's numbers against the Rockies. Should be a pretty good pair of right-handers tonight in this one.
All right, the table is set. Some finishing touches when we get back. Roster move, new guy behind the dish making his Major League debut. Craig and Niner will tell you about him when we return.
Yeah, the Marlins made a move last night, which was not all. When most people look at this movements, probably weren't really surprised by this. When Nate Robertson struggling a bit of late, and in particular, last night's game when he had a very tough third and couldn't get out of it. And the Marlins, quite frankly, have some depth now among starters, and that combination probably cost Nate a spot here as he's designated for assignment after the game.
Yeah. At this time, they really need to win some games. They need to make a change in this team, and Nate was kind of a victim of his failure last night to get things going. You see Brett Hayes placed on the 15-day disabled list with an injured hand, I believe.
Yep.
Brad Davis and Jorge Sosa will come up from New Orleans and try to make an impact.
This will open up a spot for Sunday's starter, and Chris Volstead could be on target for that spot. One thing, the Marlins certainly is no surprise. They want to get him back here ASAP, but he's pitched very well in the minor leagues.
Well, you saw that what happened with Ricky Nolasco last year after being a subpar performer here at the big league level. Goes down to AAA, gets his stuff back, working really well, and finishes out the year very strong. So they're hoping that Chris can go down there and do the exact same thing.
And maybe we'll see Chris as soon as Sunday as the Marlins wrap up the series against the Braves. Big news tonight for Brad Davis. Although he won't be using his old comfortable equipment, he makes his major league debut behind the plate. I talked with him about it.
It was the biggest cluster last night ever. I'm trying to get on the phone, trying to pack all my stuff. There's the last shuttle. You know, I'm on the phone, all of a sudden, I'm just finished showering. They said, shuttle, right now, let's go. I scramble, grab catching bag, grab my, all my clothes and stuff. I come out. Well, me and the other catcher down there have the exact same bag, and I grabbed his bag. So, I mean, granted, I was going to have to get new gear anyways because we had the navy blue stuff there in New Orleans. So, I mean, it's all right. I'll be fine. I'll have my stuff tomorrow.
The glove you're using tonight will not be yours.
No, that's John Baker's glove tonight. So, hopefully it finds a pocket.
Whose mask are you using?
I'm using, it's similar. It's a mask that they had in the back, and it's the same mask that I've always used. So
shin pads?
The same. It's all the same stuff that I used. It's just now it's black and it's brand new. So I'll be looking all right.
So Neil Wilson's equipment will have to wait to make its major league debut. Neil's the catcher in New Orleans, and his equipment made a trip, but it's already being shipped back.
I tell you what, that might be a little difficult, especially for a catcher. When you get used to your glove, that's your glove, and that's what you use all the time. For a catcher, it might even be more important.
We'll see. He told me it felt comfortable with him, but that probably would be the one big thing for Davis, and no time to wait because he's right in the starting lineup to face that man, Jason Hamill, and Davis will catch Ricky Nolasco. That's the pitching matchup for Game 3 coming up in moments.
Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network, AT&T. Rethink possible. Here come the Rockies at 51-42. Seth Smith will lead it off in left. The left-handed bats are back in the lineup for Jim Tracy. Jonathan Herrera at second base. Carlos Gonzalez, great player out in center field. Jason Giambi is at first base. Brad Hoppin right. Chris Ionetta behind the plate. Ian Stewart at third base. Clint Barmas at short. And Jason Hamill hits ninth. Ricky Nolasco gives him the heater, and it misses outside. Nolasco facing Seth Smith, Jonathan Herrera, and Carlos Gonzalez to start things.
Yeah, it's a good mix on this roster and a tough lineup for Ricky to go after. A lot of left-handers, but he had tremendous success against the Rockies earlier this year.
He was able to spot the fastball and get a lot of outs on the left-handed bats with a curveball that starts out over the plate and ends up down at your left foot if you're a left-handed hitter. Smith getting the start in left, and that's a strike, says Jim Reynolds, our home plate umpire. Last night, the Rockies exploded for 10 runs, drubbing the Marlins, actually shutting the Fish out 10-0. And, of course, the Marlins won maybe the wildest game we've seen in this ballpark in a few years on Monday night. 9-8, the Marlins winners in that one.
Kind of an interesting matchup, Rich. We have two pitchers in Ricky Nolasco and Jason Hamill. Each has pitched a lot better on the road this year. Ricky on the road is 6-2. At home, 3-5 with a 5.26 ERA.
One of those 6 wins, the win in Colorado in late April. That ball's hit to right, and it's hit deep. Stanton goes back, track, now comes back in and makes the catch. Our defense tonight brought to you by TGI Fridays.
All right, and here it is. Chris Coughlin back in lineup after his absence a couple of days. Cody and Mike Stanton. Cantu back over at third base. Gabby's at first. Up the middle, tough combination in Hanley and Dan Uggla. And Brad Davis making his Major League debut tonight behind the plate.
Here's Jonathan Herrera, who was a big part of that wild night on Monday night.
I want to mention one thing about Brad Davis back there making his debut. We've seen Brad over the last few years in spring training. He's always been in big league camp. So he's had an opportunity to catch a lot of the Marlins pitchers, and I'm sure he's handled Ricky a time or two.
And his reputation is good receiver and a very quick release as a throwing catcher. We'll see how well John Baker's glove works tonight. A crit dive bomber from Nolasco for a strike, and it's 1-2. If you didn't hear on Marlins Live, and then Craig just before the game, the equipment bag that Davis picked up was not his on his way out the door last night. So he's had to mix and match and borrow a little of this, a little of that from all the catchers and the equipment room.
Yeah, he said the biggest difference will be a different glove. Everything else is it's different, but you know what? It's Major League.
That's right. Here's the 2-2. Ooh. Nolasco froze, thought he had it. Let's take a look. It darts outside, and it was outside.
Right at the end. Good job by Davis to try to frame it.
Fox Tracks brought to you by Toyota. And Herrera works a walk. All right, Tommy, tonight a special night. Remember our fantasy auction? We had that great trip to Washington, D.C.? Well, we have that package available tonight. So tonight, we're going to auction it off tonight. And here's what you get for it.
If you haven't planned your vacation, this is outstanding.
In September, when the Marlins go to D.C., from the 10th to the 12th, American Airlines airfare, you get 2 nights at the Renaissance Hotel, the Mayflower, which is a historical hotel right in downtown D.C., tickets to all 3 games for the Marlins and the Nationals. A breaking ball and a strike to Gonzalez. You get to go down on the field and attend batting practice, which is very cool. And you get a tour of Washington, D.C. It's a 3-game weekend series. You get to spend the whole weekend with the Marlins at the team hotel and see 3 ball games. And there's some other cool stuff that we're going to sprinkle in as the night goes along. And the bidding starts We're starting the bidding, and we'll have it going throughout the game. Carlos Gonzalez goes after a fastball with good run on it, and it's 1-2.
Now Ricky trying to pick up win number 10 on the year and trying to keep the ball in the ballpark. That's where he's been hurt this year. He's allowed 20 home runs.
Herrera has good speed at first. Velasco settles. His 1-2. Change up, got him. That's a tough hitter, and Ricky strikes out Carlos Gonzalez.
Boy, he's thrown a couple good changeups so far early in this game, but a great sequence pitching to Gonzalez. Drops a breaking ball in, strike one, goes up and misses with his fastball. Another fastball. Now here comes the changeup. Cambio is beautiful.
So here's Giambi now. Giambi 2 for 4 in the first game of this series, and he fouls it back to the screen.
The one thing that hitters know when they face Ricky Nolasco, they're going to see a lot of strikes. And that's why, especially early on, first pitches, Ricky's going to have to be real fine, make good pitches, and not just throw that fastball up there anywhere. So a guy like Giambi all of a sudden has swung the first 2 pitches.
And it's 0-2. The phone number for the auction for that DC trip, 305-623-6497. 305-623-6497. It's a little bonus item, a trip up to DC with the Marlins in September. We're going to auction it off as the game goes along. Bidding starts at $2,500. 0-2 pitch, the Express, the fastball's up.
Now Ricky has a couple of options after he showed Giambi that fastball. He can drop that curveball in with good snap on it, or he can use that same changeup that he used to get Gonzalez.
He's going to make sure Herrera knows he's still thinking about him. Rockies at 51-42. Colorado a game back in the wild card. In the West, the Rockies are 3.5 behind the San Diego Padres. The Giants are 3 back. Liner back to Ricky. He had a ball like that. I want to say Arizona. A screaming liner just like that. The Marlins 3 under. Chris Coughlin is back in the leadoff spot in this ball game. Gabby Sanchez is back at first base in this ball game. Hanley Ramirez at short. Dan Uggla at second. Jorge Cantu at third. Cody Ross in center. Mike Stanton in right field. And, of course, Brad Davis
Not Crash Davis, but Brad Davis makes his Major League debut. Ricky Nolasco hits 9th. This would be Jason Hamill.
The 27-year-old right-hander, as you pointed out, having a very good year for Jim Tracy and the Rockies. He's kept the ball in the ballpark. We talk about Ricky has allowed 20 home runs. Hamill's allowed just 9.
Coghlan takes a fastball at the letters for a strike. Chris, a sore back has kept him out of the lineup. He would like to get himself back to June when he was really swinging it. Takes that one high. He is 3 for his last 37, so a struggle in July.
Yeah, 377 for the month of June.
Coghlan takes a big rip.
Fouls it back. Hamill coming off a pretty good start, too, his last outing. Even though he lost 3-2. But went 7 innings, gave up 8 hits and just 3 runs in Cincinnati. That's been a hot ball club lately, too.
Coghlan, an emergency swing, and Hamill picks it up and flips on over to first. So Chris is out number 1 in the first. Here comes the defense, brought to you by TGI Fridays.
Pretty solid defensive ball club. Seth Smith and Carlos Gonzalez. Brad Hopp in that outfield. Stewart steady over third. Varmus has been terrific filling in for Tulowitzki. Jonathan Herrera, Giambi on the right side. And Chris Iannetta, his last 2 starts behind the plate, he's caught shutouts.
Here is Gabby, and he takes a strike. Gabby, of course, last night was a spectator, and it probably wasn't real pretty to watch. As many of you out there can attest, the Rockies won 10-0. Gabby got his night off. Wes Helms got the start at third. Jorge Cantu was over at first. But Gabby climbs in just a tick over 300, 4 hits on this homestand. And he lines it into the seats. It's foul.
All right, let's tell you a little bit more about Jason Hamill, the right-hander. Easy 90s. You watch his delivery. He doesn't have a whole lot of effort to it. Former Tampa Bay Ray, and that slider has a little short break to it, along with a curveball
that Gabby went for. And so Hamill gets the first 2 outs of the first inning. Tommy, we already have our first bidder on the Washington, D.C. trip. Our first bidder is in for $2,500. Bidding has begun.
That's good. There are a lot of great towns to go to, but can't think of too many more that have the things that you can see, and also the brand new ballpark, Nationals Park, and then all the things to do in the D.C. area.
And you are in walking distance of the White House, of the mall, the monuments, the memorials. You've got to go see, of course, the World War II memorial. You've got to go see the Vietnam memorial. The Korean War memorial is a good one, too. High fly ball over towards the Marlin pen. And that one is out of play. Plus, you get a tour around D.C. with Craig Minervini, which is priceless. You get tickets to 3 ball games. You get batting practice to come down and batting practice on the field. Watch the Marlins and the Nationals take BP. Off the end of the bat in the center field, a base hit. And Tommy and I will personally guarantee a meet and greet with some Marlin players and some National players. I guarantee you. Josh
we
Willingham,
can throw that out there. We can guarantee
Adam
that.
Dunn, some Nationals. You get to meet some of those guys. You get to meet some of the Marlins during batting practice. That's all part of the trip.
And the other thing, one little thing to all this, of course, I'm always thinking food. You can get the famous Ben's Chili Bowl, and there is one in the ballpark. So if you have a desire of some nice chili, wow.
So it's right now at $2,500. There's the number to call, 305-623-6497. And you're with the team. You're in the team hotel. the Renaissance Mayflower is a great old hotel.
Oh, it is.
Historic hotel. A lot of presidents have stayed there, heads of state. I think
A lot of other people.
last year I was eating breakfast, and George Will and another, I don't know if it was Sam Donaldson, but some big wig in D.C. was next table, talking baseball, of course.
Oh, George Will would be.
Absolutely. George Will is a huge baseball fan. His son actually works for the Nationals. Ugla with a swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
All right, these are the guys we talked about, Hanley, Dan Ugla, Cody Ross. For the Marlins to start getting going here, they need to get going. Last home run for Dan Ugla was July 4th in Atlanta. Last home run for Cody was June 28th in Puerto Rico.
Oh, 2 coming. Ugly, it's a high pop-up, and it's foul and back beyond the screen. Hamill is out of Port Orchard, Washington. South Kitsap High School. That's just across the Puget Sound from Seattle, and it's produced some pretty good major leaguers, that area. Aaron Seeley is from that area. Willie Bloomquist of the Kansas City Royals from that area. Aaron Cunningham of the Oakland A's. Jason Ellison of the Giants. Todd Linden, a former, I believe he was a Marlin for like 2 or 3 months.
A little bit, and also with the Giants.
Yep. Hanley's at first. And he's running. Ugla check swing. Throw down to second, into center field. Hanley's on his way to third. Now Ugla checked his swing. There is an appeal, and the first base umpire, Scott Berry, just said no swing. This one was close in terms of Ugla. There's a look at Hanley's jump.
Yeah, first we'll look at the jump, which was a very good jump by Hanley. His 20th stolen base, goes to third base on the throwing error. Now we'll get a look at the swing. Did he go? We saw that called last night, so sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
But Ugla, who was behind in the count 0-2, has worked the count full now at 2-2. Breaking ball. Ugla lines it left center field. That's in there. It's going to the wall. And the ice has come off the bats of Hanley Ramirez and Dan Ugla. 1 for 16 on the homestand was Ugla. Hanley just 3 for 19. And back-to-back hits have the Marlins on the board first.
Yeah, and the other thing, Rich, these guys have not been productive. There's a hanging breaking ball for our checkers double of the game. You get a hanging breaking ball like that, Dan Ugla just attacked it. Found that zone in left center field. And his first RBI of the second half.
Here comes Cantu.
Three-two. Watch his swing. He stays back on it nicely. Doesn't try to lift too much. That's a good, solid stroke by Dan Ugla.
Cantu has 3 hits in this series. He's one guy who all of a sudden seems to have refound his line drive swing. Oh-2 coming. Hamill's last time out, Tommy, you talked about how well he pitched in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
10 strikeouts, a career high 10 strikeouts.
And walked just 1.
And that loss snapped a 6-game winning streak.
You know, it's interesting. He doesn't have, I mean, he's got a good fastball. Not 97, 98, but he has 3 pretty good pitches. Uses the slider and the curveball.
Cantu lines it down the right field line. That's in there for a hit. Ugla's going to score. And Cantu pulls in with a double. Welcome back, everybody.
Got a couple of mistake pitches. The one that Dan Ugla hit, a breaking ball up. This fastball up and out over the plate. And Jorge Cantu doesn't try to pull it. Takes that RBI. He said, you know what? I can drive in a run with that line drive there. And each of the last 2 hitters, Dan Ugla and Jorge Cantu, were down 0-2 in the count. And came back with big base hits.
So here's Cody Ross. Now, this is another guy we talked about whose bat has been a little bit quiet on this homestand. Just 3 for 16. Hamill goes up and in on it. Marlins off to a 2-0 start. Mike Stanton is on deck. Two games in less than 24 hours to finish off this 4-game series. A game here tonight, of course, and then a noon start tomorrow with Josh Johnson on the hill against lefty Jorge De La Rosa.
Yeah, it'll be a quick turnaround for everybody. Pitch count getting up there for Hamill.
Cody got jammed on that fastball. And it's now 1-2. The Marlins kind of at a crossroads, and that was obviously the theme going into the homestand. And at this point, no clearer picture. They've won 3 of the 5 games.
So you're saying things have still been a little hazy.
1-2. But I'm also saying this, in the next 2 days, the Marlins can help themselves out considerably. Because in less than 24 hours, the ball club has a chance to win 2. Of course, they have a chance to lose 2. Or they have a chance just to split.
Then they have the first place Atlanta Braves coming to town.
And we documented what the Marlins schedule looks like the next 2 weeks. And it is tough. On the road against San Francisco, against San Diego. Cody went around. So Hamill strikes out Ross, but the Marlins put 2 on the board. Hanley starts it. Ugla and Cantu drive in runs.
Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium. There he is, Brad Davis. Major League debut here tonight. Great stuff. We mentioned earlier his equipment. Well, not his equipment. He mixed up the bags with the other catcher, Neil Wilson. But the story of his promotion, very interesting. He found out in Round Rock, Texas, where the Zephyrs were playing last night, of all places on the mound in the 6th inning. He went out during a pitching change. Manager Greg Norton came out, took out the pitcher, and told Davis, "You're out too." Davis didn't know what he was talking about. He started walking back to the plate. And he says, "BD, you're out." He turned around and he said, "You're going to the major leagues." So that's where he found out. A quick turnaround after the game. He said he hardly slept at all. Got a flight to Dallas, arrived here in Fort Lauderdale about 3 in the afternoon, only maybe an hour or two of sleep. But I'm sure he's playing on adrenaline, and he'll be quite alert tonight behind the plate. Guys?
Yeah, the other thing, it's a quick turnaround, Craig, but it was enough time for him to let his family know. And so his family is here. His family from Southern California. He grew up at Long Beach State. A dirtbag.
Yeah, there are a lot of really interesting connections.
Yes.
With Brad Davis's arrival.
Here's Chris Iannetta. If you want to start with a Colorado connection, Troy Tulowitzki, who is out on rehab now, and of course a star infielder, all-star infielder for the Rockies. He was at Long Beach State for a couple of seasons. Davis, 2 years older than Tulowitzki. Iannetta 1 for 3 in this series. Tapper towards Ugla. Danny has it, flips on over to first in time. So there's 2 outs. Hey, would you like to play catch on the field with Cody Ross?
Yeah, how about that?
Visit any participating South Florida Jiffy Lube. Register for the Play Catch with Cody sweepstakes. Win 1 year of free oil changes, plus the chance to play catch with Cody Ross and more. Visit Jiffy Lube for details. Jiffy Lube, the official oil change of the Marlins. So Iannetta bounces out. Here's Ian Stewart. Stewart lines one, left center. Cody on the run. And that one is off the wall. Cody plays it well, and Stewart is going to be limited to a double. That's a tricky area there when you're going for the ball. If you get in too deep and the ball gets by you, that becomes a triple.
Yeah, you see a lot of visiting center fielders who have trouble playing this carom. Cody Ross made it look easy. And once he got to a point where he realized he wasn't going to catch it, he moved back, played the carom, got it into the infield quickly. So, that looked easy, but it isn't all that easy.
Barmas, breaking ball, fly ball. Coughlin has it in his sights. And Velasco has gone 2 scoreless to open up this ball game. 8-pitch inning for Ricky. and the Nationals. And it's in September. American Airlines will fly you up there 2 nights at the team hotel. Adam Dunn may throw gum at you just like that at the Mayflower. Mike Stanton is up, and he takes a fastball up. Tickets to 3 games, batting practice, team hotel, tour around D.C., and it's all coming up, and it all benefits the Marlins Community Foundation. We had a leftover item from our fantasy auction, so we decided, you know what, tonight, let's sell the road trip tonight. 305-623-6497. 305-623-6497. Mike Stanton swings and misses, and the count's 2-1. Chopper over third and down the line, and Mike Stanton is around first and into second.
Even his choppers are hit hard. That had tremendous topspin, and it found it high enough to get over the head of Ian Stewart, the third baseman. And then that topspin took it in to deeper left field and allowed Mike to get the easy double. That's a good way to start the second inning.
Hey, Tommy, by the way, how about a Mike Stanton bat for that trip? An autographed Mike Stanton bat.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so if you're the winning bidder tonight, you get a Mike Stanton autographed bat, authenticated. How about that? So that's on the board now, too. And this is a great moment. First big league at bat. Brad Davis, good numbers this year. His numbers at AAA New Orleans is some of the best numbers he's had in a minor league season in his career. He's 27.
He's been in the organization 7 years.
He tried to push it to the right side. Stanton wasn't sure if it was going to hit the ground or if it would be caught by Herrera.
Yeah, that's a tough one for a base runner. A heads-up play for Brad Davis, even though you have a pitcher coming up, he had an idea at the plate. Unfortunately, the ball was a semi-line drive, and if you're a runner, boy, you don't want to get doubled off. And Mike Stanton had to just kind of hold his ground before that ball one-hopped Herrera.
So Ricky will try to help himself out now. By the way, tonight we will be joined in the 4th inning by Andre Dawson, leading into Hall of Fame weekend. You don't want to miss that.
Looking forward to that.
The Hawk will come by. We'll talk about his impending trip to Cooperstown. I'm sure he's been asked a million times about his speech. Tommy, you had a great story about the private party that the Cubs are throwing.
We got to get a little more information on that. The Cubs are throwing a private party for him.
To see who gets the invites?
Yeah.
We may even ask him about the Cubs managerial spot. What type of manager does he think the Cubs need?
Well, he'll bring up a name, Ryne Sandberg, because it was Ryne Sandberg who, in his Hall of Fame speech, mentioned Andre Dawson.
Fastball, a strike, and it's 1-2. 2-0 Fish. Bottom second. Hamill working to Nolasco. And a breaking ball, and Iannetta is having to work overtime. Hamill's breaking ball has been in the dirt a lot tonight.
A little lack of command with that pitch.
Two-two's outside. Remember, Ricky didn't get that pitch back in the first inning.
Yeah, and I think each time we've shown the Toyota Fox tracks, you've seen it was just off the plate.
So far, so good for Jim Reynolds. 3-2 coming. And he threw it by him. Elevated a fastball. And it's up for Coughlin now to keep this inning going. Marlin fans, you can check us out on Facebook.com/Fox Sports Florida Sun Sports, where you'll find behind-the-scenes videos, polls, discussions, and more. Great way to interact with other Marlin fans. Stay up to date on Fox Sports Florida and Sun Sports events and telecasts. So Facebook.com/Fox Sports Florida Sun Sports. Did you write that down?
I will if you'd like.
Here, I'll hand you the card. Fastball up. Tommy, in that first at bat, we saw something that Chris Coughlin went through in April and is going through again, and that he got himself out. He swung at a pitch that was out. He broke out an emergency swing, just trying to make contact.
Yeah, which when we saw him locked in last year, the second half of the year, we rarely saw that. You see him taking more strikes, chasing more pitches that aren't strikes, and especially with 2 strikes, having trouble.
That's down low, and now it's 3-0.
But you know what? We know it's there because we saw him hit in June the way he did. He was actually ready and able to play last night, but Edwin Rodriguez told us that, you know, with the left-hander Francis out there, he wanted to get Bonifacio another game, and Bonnie did a nice job in his time playing.
And a strike. Jason Hamill, not a real happy guy. We have great audio on the field. Sometimes the audio picks up an expletive, so to speak, so we apologize for Jason Hamill. Tommy, between innings, is going to go down and warn him. And we hope that takes care of the
Well, that's because every once in a while we have someone come in the booth and warn me.
You know, I know it wasn't a base hit, but I take that at bat by Chris Coughlin as a real positive at bat.
Yeah, he saw some pitches, took a couple of close ones. Yeah, Hamill is kind of like a Ricky Nolasco. Doesn't walk many. It's only the 26th walk all year and right about 100 innings.
Gabby Sanchez struck out back in the first. And it was on a pitch just like that. And all of a sudden now, Hamill's not able to throw that secondary pitch for a strike.
Well, that kind of clicks in. If you're a hitter and you're on deck, you're in the dugout and you're watching, you got to kind of register those things to realize you might see a few more fastballs because he's having trouble commanding that breaking ball.
And his fastball, whenever he's thrown it, he's pounded it in. So he missed away with the breaking ball, missed in with the fastball.
Sometimes what happens, the pitcher realizes he can't command that breaking ball, then he tries to be too fine with the fastball, and he can't throw that for strikes either.
There's the fastball down the middle. It's 2-1.
And Jim Tracy looking on. Nice moves by Jim Tracy last night. You know, he made total lineup changes to get some right-handed bats in. And everything paid off for him.
He's got a pretty versatile roster. Like a platoon of lefties and righties.
You know, the other day, saw Jim Tracy off to the side having a nice talk with Ronnie Paulino. Because Ronnie, in his days with Pittsburgh, played for Jim Tracy and said he was a terrific guy to play for.
Gabby gets into that one. Dead center. Deep. Gonzalez looks. Gone! On the blue tarp.
Oh, I love those blue tarpers.
3-run shot. And the Rookie of the Year candidate with a big blow here tonight.
also the 100th base hit for Gabby on the year. So he continues to lead all rookies in hits, doubles, total bases, on base percentage, and that for Gabby, home run number 10. And a big shot, Blue Tarper, a 3-run shot.
Here is Hanley. Yep, he threw the fastball down the middle.
Yeah, no command of that fastball. It was there, but it was right down the middle.
And he breaks another bat. He got a hit on the first one. Herrera races in and makes the catch. We have a new high bidder on our road trip fantasy auction item. You'll get to see Gabby Sanchez do this in D.C. We'll update you when we get back. The bats have risen, and the Marlins have a 5-0 lead. Now Ricky Nolasco goes to work on Jason Hamill, the Rockies pitcher, who takes a strike. Hamill then top of the order. Seth Smith, Jonathan Herrera. A very important 24 hours for the Florida Marlins. Ricky Nolasco tonight against the Rockies. Josh Johnson tomorrow at high noon against the Rockies. Marlins facing Hamill tonight and Jorge De La Rosa tomorrow.
The slinging left-hand Jorge De La Rosa.
Cody Ross in his tracks makes the catch. Now remember, we talked about that line drive off the bat of Giambi, and then Ricky had one back in Arizona. Here's living proof.
Yeah, the one in Arizona, I think, was hit a little bit harder, but each time Ricky with great reactions. That one by Giambi earlier tonight. Each time Ricky right there to make the grab.
The one in Arizona had some handshaking going on.
Oh, he went off the mound into the dugout. Yeah, shaking his hand the whole time.
Here's Seth Smith. And the one in Arizona, I believe, was a double play. I think he threw to first to double up a runner. Pop-up. You can hear Hanley call for it. See, I tell you, we have great audio Mark Butler is one of the best in the business.
You can hear Hanley all the way up here. And in your living room or family room or TV room. Ricky doing it efficiently tonight, too. That was just pitch number 34.
That's a necessity tonight for the Marlins. Even though they added Jorge Sosa in the whole shuffle, the bullpen has been overworked. 5-inning start last night, 6-inning start night before, 5 1/3, 6 innings. Up the middle into center field, the base hit. Ricky's last start, which opened up the second half and opened up the homestand, was only 5 1/3 innings.
Yeah, that was that start against Steven Strasburg, where actually through the first 4 innings he was matching Strasburg. He had 8 strikeouts in that game, but then just kind of ran out of gas.
And the Josh Willingham triple in the 6th inning was the big hit. That drove in 3. It was a 0-0 game. Cargo, as they call him in Colorado, Carlos Gonzalez. Wow. That's probably a case of a catcher not working with a pitcher. The ball did sail, but it almost looked like Davis lost sight of it.
Yeah, that's a tough one, though. When you're down in that crouch and all of a sudden a fastball sails over your head, it's a tough one to react to. One of the things Brad Davis is very good at, in talking with the Marlins coaches who've seen him over the years, very good at blocking balls. But that one there, that's a tough one.
So far, these two have worked well together.
We're talking about some of the other connections. Brandon Hyde in the dugout alongside Edwin Rodriguez was a coach one year for Long Beach State. And the year he was there, Brad Davis was a freshman and was a freshman All-American.
And one of the guys that was on that team, a starting pitcher that Davis handled, Jared Weaver of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Brandon Hyde then had an opportunity to begin his professional coaching and managing career. But yeah, he coached the catchers on that team that year, so he had Brad Davis in his freshman year.
That one fouled out of play. You just saw the crawl up above with our auction item. We're up to $3,000 for the road trip to Washington, D.C. And we are going to end the bidding in the 7th inning. And there might be another add-on coming. We've already added on a Mike Stanton autographed bat. One, two coming. Of course, all those guys, there's Stanton. He may have gone to see Long Beach State play a few times when he was growing up. Of course, all those guys from Long Beach State, Tommy, probably had nice new uniforms because of a certain alumni that may have donated a little bit to the school. And that's Jason Giambi. He was a dirtbag as well. Oh, Ricky. That's twice tonight. He's been able to strike out Carlos Gonzalez with that changeup. That is nasty. It was so fast, it was a matter of 12 minutes. They had 6 runs on the board. Talking about last night's 3rd inning, that's when the game got away from Nate Robertson. And if you haven't heard, the Marlins have designated Nate Robertson for assignment. Brett Hayes placed on the disabled list. There are the moves. Brad Davis up. Jorge Sosa is up, but the Marlins are going to need a starter on Sunday.
I am guessing, and it's purely a guess. You start thinking of pitchers who would be ready to pitch on Sunday. Chris Volstad's had a couple of good outings since being sent down. And who knows? We could see Chris on Sunday.
Dan Uggla with a 2-out RBI double. So far, that's the big hit that got things started. And after that, everyone seems to be hitting. Cantu followed with an RBI double. Stanton doubled. Gabby Sanchez hit a 3-run homer. Uggla drives this one to right field. That's hit well. Hop goes back to the wall, and he makes the catch. Ball had been carrying pretty well out there in right center field in this series. And here comes Cantu. You know what, Tommy? I just realized something. Our Washington, D.C. trip that we are auctioning off tonight.
Yeah.
Let's throw in a trip up to the broadcast booth,
which is an adventure in itself.
At Nationals Park, you get to spend an inning with us.
Spacious. It's a spacious booth. There's room for many. It's altitude's a little high, but a lot of room.
Yes, oxygen tanks optional. But you saw the number there, 305-623-6497. And if you've just joined us and you're asking what the heck's going on, we have that Washington, D.C. road trip available from the fantasy auction. So we decided tonight, let's auction it off. We've added a few things. If you want to know the details, go to marlins.com/fantasy, and the trip details are still up there. I think it's item 2 on the list. But a Mike Stanton bat has been added, and now a trip up to the broadcast booth anytime during the series. Even if you want to come up for every game, you can come up.
More than welcome.
Tickets to 3 games that weekend in September. Cody laces that one to left. And running it down is Seth Smith. Good swing by Cody. Marlins down in order. Five 0 Marlins on top in the 4th. It is always an honor when Andre Dawson comes to the booth, and he joins us now, getting ready. Have you packed for Cooperstown yet?
Yeah, I'm all packed, Rich. The wife and kids are home packing now, but I started about a week ago.
When do you actually take off?
We leave tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. out of Fort Lauderdale.
Boy, and I know it's a trip that you haven't, in talking to you the last 3, 4, 5 years, you really haven't dwelt on it too much, but I'm sure it's a trip you've been looking forward to for a while.
Yeah, the excitement that's been generated over the past few months is starting to come to a head now. Obviously, you know, we are very, very happy. My family is very proud of this moment, and they've had the opportunity to receive that from a lot of well wishes, and it's exciting. And I never in my career would envision this, but when I got to that status and it finally happened, you know, not only quite relieved, but really humbled and overjoyed.
Was the anticipation, or is the anticipation for this weekend, especially Sunday, more than the anticipation of waiting to get the call and be elected?
Yeah, because I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't think you really know until you're actually on the stage itself, and you see the exclusive group behind you, and then you got to deliver a speech. I think once, you know, I do that, then I'll be relieved, overjoyed, and finally feel that my feet are underneath me. But until that time, I don't know what to expect, how it's going to turn out, but I'm just going to enjoy it and make the most of it.
Hey, who are some Hall of Famers that you're looking forward to seeing when you get there?
Well, the guys that I played with, for starts, individuals that I took a personal interest in growing up, Mays, Aaron. You know, I played with Doggy. I see him every day, so Doggy don't really have to go if you don't want to. You know, but Sandberg, obviously, Kid's going to be there, so I'm sure I'll take a ribbon from them, and they'll probably say, "What took you so long?" But you know, all of the Hall of Famers. I heard from them when I got the nod that I was going to be in. They sent me congratulatory messages, so it'll be an honor and a thrill to just, you know, be on that stage with them.
We've had you in the booth a few times, and we've asked you about writing the speech, and you told us that the speech was pretty much done about a month ago. Was that right?
Well, it was done a few months ago. I would say probably as early as April. I started on it right away. You know, did quite a bit of tinkering with it over the months, and made some changes here and there. It's very tough to encapsulate, I think, 20 years of baseball over a 15, 20-minute period, but I'm going to do the best that I can. I won't talk a lot about what people already know, or just mention the stuff that I think is important.
All right, stick with us. We got more to ask you when we get back here. Marlins up 5-0. More with the Hawk. By South Florida Ford. Visit southfloridaford.com for great offers. By Checkers, Little Place, Big Taste. And by Salt in theaters July 23rd. Marlins on top, 5-0. Mike Stanton stands in. He doubled back in the second, and he takes a strike. Andre Dawson joining us now. Who have you called for advice on what to expect before, during, and after the ceremonies? Have you leaned on anybody for that?
Well, I didn't really do too much calling. They were calling me. And Goose Gossage I met very early on, and I talked with him extensively last year after he got the nod and he went in. And he told me, he said, Hawker, he said, put your seatbelt on, buddy. It's going to be quite the ride. He said, at one particular thing, he said, I hadn't been home in over 2 weeks. He said, just don't let it get the most of you. Come out August, September, it's all going to be worth it. But it's going to be quite tiresome. And every truth of that I've envisioned.
Well, from what I understand and talking to you the other day, the Cubs have a little ride prepared for you. They got a little party prepared, don't they?
Yeah, they do. After the Hall of Fame tour on Saturday night, they're going to fly in. They're going to host a party. They're going to fly right back out on Sunday. I don't think they're staying for the ceremony itself, but great gesture on their part.
And I know, and Tommy brought it up, one of the guys when he was inducted mentioned in his speech that you should be in the Hall of Fame, and that's Ryne Sandberg, and I expect there's a place for him in your speech.
Of course. One of my all-time favorites. I played with him for 6 years, and that was a huge endorsement. And Rhino, as you know, in the Hall of Fame and trying to become the next Hall of Famer to manage. So I have a place for certain players in the speech who I played with, some who are in the Hall of Fame, some who are not. Those were the ones that were the closest to me.
Do you think Ryne Sandberg, with Lou Piniella announcing that he's going to retire after this year, you think Ryne Sandberg, number one, has a good chance to be the Cubs manager and will be a good manager at the Major League level?
Well, I'm surprised that he ever even entertained being a manager because he was always so quiet. I just never saw that side of Rhino want to be a manager. But I know he's worked very hard. He's a very likable guy. He's worked up through their system. So I don't know if he's the next man in line, if they want him to jump in and take over the helm, or if they want him to start out being a bench coach. But I do feel he'll probably be a part of that process.
Brad Davis making his Major League debut. Bounced out in his first at bat. And he sends one fouling out of play. The Marlins are having a big gala luncheon in August after everything calms down at the Four Seasons Hotel in Miami, Friday, August 6th. And it's a charitable luncheon. Will benefit the Marlins Community Foundation, the Beacon Council Foundation, and the Alzheimer's Association of South Florida. Tony Perez, Gary Carter will be there, as well as many of the Marlins front office staff and players, friends, and family. The pride of Miami. One of the things that I always respected about your career is you weren't a guy that had anything handed to you from the very start. You went to a small college to play baseball, got noticed that way. You came up with the Montreal Expos, a team that didn't get a lot of national exposure. You burst onto the scene there, and then you finally got your national recognition when you got to Chicago.
Well, I think what's missed in all of it was that I was driven. I was a kid that just wanted to play baseball. It was a childhood dream. It was the only thing I would eat and sleep. And I just wanted an opportunity, regardless, however that may be. Florida A&M gave me an opportunity when a lot of the local colleges backed off because I had knee surgery. I was a walk-on that was eventually given a scholarship.
That's amazing.
And Montreal Expos invited me to a tryout camp with Clint Hurdle, who went in the first round to the Kansas City Royals. And I was a 11th round draft pick with, well, maybe some hope. I don't think that they would consider me at that point to be a prospect, but I just wanted the opportunity. They gave me the opportunity, and from there, the rest is, you make the most of it and enjoy it.
Hey, have you heard from our good friend Warren Cromartie and former teammate?
Yeah, I talked to Crow. He's going up to Montreal, I think, Friday, and he's going to be in a contingent that's coming down from Montreal on a bus, of all things.
So just don't let Crow drive that bus.
He's coming in on Sunday. I said, are you driving the bus or Youpie driving the bus?
Youpie. Well, and it's going to be for us on Sunday. The induction ceremonies are carried live, I believe, on the MLB Network. So we're going to have one eye on the ball game and one eye up there. But we will, on our telecast on Sunday, bring you the highlights and certainly have the better part of your speech.
Well, I know our own Frank Fort is going to be up there with Inside the Marlins, too.
And Frank's going to call us from Cooperstown on Saturday and probably on Sunday as well, just to give us a heads up and let us know how it goes. Here's Coughlin now. How do you avoid, or can you avoid, becoming emotional when you give that speech?
I don't know how individuals can do it. One thing I do pray and hope not to do is pull a Bill Mazeroski. But I know it's going to come at some point. I've saved that hopefully to the end. I had the speech broken up into several different sections. I'm going to ride a few guys. You got to think, people, obviously.
You got to get on a few guys,
yeah,
right?
I want to talk about the state of the game and also, dedicated. This whole speech is being dedicated to my mom and my grandmother, and I'm going to save that for the end because I know that's going to be the toughest part.
Well, we can't wait. It is something that all of South Florida, the city of Miami, the Cubs, the Expos, the Marlins have been waiting so long to see, and to actually see it happen is going to be a special moment this weekend.
Well, and the Marlins are going to have a nice contingent in Cooperstown as well.
Coughlin walks, and that's going to bring Gabby to the plate, and it's going to bring Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach, out to the mound, and he's going to remind Jason Hamlin. He said, Jason, you know what? They've got this Coors Light cold hard blast thing, and the last time you threw a pitch to Gabby Sanchez, he did this.
Yeah, don't throw him that same pitch. Hey, to just stray away from the Hall of Fame, you've had a chance, as we all have, to watch Mike Stanton since he's been here. I know you were a big advocate of his, even in spring training. What have you liked about being around him and watching him?
Well, I'm amazed defensively how far he's come since spring training, and to me he looks like he's even gotten bigger since spring training. He's made a lot of strides from what I saw early in the spring, and obviously he struggled at everywhere he started. He struggled in Greensboro, he struggled in Jupiter, he struggled up in Jacksonville, and you expect him to struggle here until he gets his feet underneath him, until he really sees and establishes what the pitchers are doing to him. And one thing about Mike Stanton is he knows how to adjust. He's a student of the game. He works very hard. And like I had envisions of him being, an exciting ball player when I first saw him, my mind hasn't changed.
Want to know to Gabby Sanchez.
He has guys like you and Doggy to be around, Tony Perez. When you came up with the Expos, who was kind of there for you as an advisor, or was there anybody?
Besides Yuppie.
Yeah.
Well, Doggy was there, actually.
That's right.
Doggy was there. Dave Cash was there. Al Oliver was there. Pete Rose was a little bit later. We have veterans who didn't hesitate to pull you aside, take you underneath their wing, and they'll sit down, they'll talk to you about the game. Tell me you can relate to this.
Yeah.
Because you didn't just get dressed and leave the ballpark. You would have round table discussions. A guy pull up a chair, stick a beer in front of you, whether you drink it or not. But they wanted to talk baseball, and they would talk about mistakes that were being made, and you'd learn from that.
I think there was a little more of that than there is now.
Obviously, yes. Now, especially when you're on the road, you got guys that, got cabs waiting for them outside. They leave the ballpark right away, and, it just doesn't happen anymore.
Gabby Sanchez, another guy, Hawk, that he really hasn't struggled this year. He may be the Marlins' most consistent hitter all year long.
Well, the big thing about Gabby is, he came into spring training this year knowing that, okay, I knew what I did wrong last year, and I knew why I was sent back to the minor leagues. And he just pressed. And the one thing I tried to tell him was, let the game come to you. The job is there for you taking. And just have fun. Don't put any self-inflicted pressures on yourself, and you're going to do fine at this level.
You're going to do fine in Cooperstown, my friend.
Yeah, you're going to do great. Good luck, Hawk.
Good luck, Hawk.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
All right, buddy. We'll be watching. Ricky Nolasco right now in control, but as we saw last night, this is a Rocky team that in the span of 12 minutes, as Edwin Rodriguez said, can score 6 runs, as they did last night. Ian Stewart fouls a pitch back.
Well, they have that kind of offense. They have that kind of balance.
We still have a lot planned on the show tonight. We're in the middle of our Washington, D.C. trip auction item. Last bid was $3,000. We have some news on that coming up here in a little bit. There's the phone number to call, 305-623-6497. 3 games, 2 nights in the team hotel, the Mayflower. Batting practice. We'll get you some signed stuff from the Marlins and the Nationals. So you get to come up to the booth in D.C. and hang out with us. Craig will take you around town and show you the sights. We are going to close the bidding. Last out, 7th inning. Last out, 7th inning. We didn't have to have as many people on our phone bank as we do for the auction. You know, in the auction, Tommy, we have...
That's crazy.
It is. I mean, we have literally...
We even have Tiny, or the manatees.
Mermaids, manatees. Billy, if he could talk. And Nolasco continues to be just nasty tonight. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, this is a can't-miss watch here. The 12th annual Make-A-Wish Dream Date Bachelor and Bachelorette auction is at Opium and Hard Rock on Friday night. Our very own Allison Williams, you can bid on her. Jennifer DeLeese from the Marlins. And these bachelors have also joined us. Look at this group. Allison.
Good-looking group, don't you think?
Amazing.
Not too shabby.
The bidding
And
might start now.
I hope it does. And we've got other good candidates as well, because one of the bachelorettes is the Florida Panthers ice dancer. Another one is a former Miami Dolphins cheerleader, and the Panthers' own Sean Mathias is a bachelor. So there's a lot of good potential things out there.
So
Yeah.
again, this is the Make-A-Wish event, the Dream Date auction. Jennifer, are you looking forward to this? And what's the minimum bid here?
I'm excited. I think the minimum should be $1,000 at least. I mean, let's get it up there.
Well, maybe it will be. Hey, guys, what are you looking at? Now, you two are going to go off as, I guess, 2 girls will bid, potentially, on you two, your team. Is that right?
We're just hoping for one lucky lady if she can handle us. If not, we're looking for 2 lovely ladies. We're going to take them out on a phenomenal night of the town. We're going to on a private safari through the Miami Zoo, afterwards the Cheesecake Factory, and hopefully the night goes well. We'll take them out for South Beach.
I don't want to get to too well there. Let's stop there. I hope it goes terrifically. Where is your date, Allison?
Mine is on the Jungle Queen.
All right.
And Gary, actually, though, he's got one of the best dates.
Gary, where's yours?
Well, we're going to do lunch at the Ritz, and we're going to end up doing a blimp ride. So, never been on a blimp, so come on, bid on me.
All right, this will be Friday night. I feel like Chuck Woolery on this show. We'll get back to you, see how the date went. Friday night, Opium at the Hard Rock. This is not a Marlins event, by the way. We're kind of giving a little Make-A-Wish plug here for a great cause, obviously, for children, and Jennifer and Allison are part of this group. Good luck. We're going to have cameras there, and we'll report back. Good luck.
Thank you, Craig. I need it. Come out and bid, guys.
All right, Rich and Tommy.
It's a great cause.
Yeah, it is.
0-2 pitch coming from Ricky Nolasco. And he strikes out Jason Hamill. Ricky, fabulous tonight, and the Marlins need him. And he's coming through in a big way. We are having a mini auction. The road trip to D.C. That's our item. Bidding right now is at $3,000. So $3,000 is where the item is. It's a 2-night, 3-day stay. Tickets to all 3 games. Tour D.C. with Craig. You get to come up to the booth with us. Batting practice down on the field. Meet and greet with some Marlins and some Nationals. Maybe Teddy Roosevelt. You can race with Teddy. 305-623-6497. $3,000 is where we are right now. Jeff Conine joins us now. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. We're going to close the bidding at the end of the 7th inning. So final out, 7th inning. Bids are closed. Niner is here with a fabulous add-on. We've added on a Mike Stanton bat. We've added on a trip up to the booth to see us during the games.
And that is a trip in itself.
Niner, I know.
That is a trip.
I know you've got something you've been working on. What is it?
Yeah. Well, I am working on something, but folks, I mean, this is an experience. I mean, you can't. This is like priceless stuff you're going to get. You know, it's a once in a lifetime thing. But I'm here to add on a little add-on to it. A good friend of mine runs the television in the Capitol building, the U.S. Capitol, and he's going to give whoever the winner is a very special tour of the Capitol building.
Wow.
And it's I can't give too many details, but it's a tour that the general public does not get to have. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So, and now we're at 3,100 apparently. You see the phone number on your screen. 3,100 is the leading bid. We're going to close it at the end of the 7th inning. So, have you been on this tour? I've been, I don't think I was on that tour, but I have been to the Capitol building.
I've been on the tour before, and it's special.
Now,
I'll just say that.
Do you have security clearance to tell us what you saw on the tour?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Because you also have some friends in the FBI up there.
And yeah, a lot. I got to play in Baltimore for 5 years, so I got to know a lot of people in certain areas that
you can't talk about.
I can't talk about. I'm sorry.
All right, since you're an expert in the areas, Hanley stands in, and the winner is going to be there for 3 days. If you were up there for 3 days, what would you suggest, aside from this really cool behind-the-scenes Capitol tour, the 3 baseball games, and all of that, what would you suggest? Where would you tell someone to go?
Well, Air and Space at the Smithsonian is an absolutely can't-miss thing to go. And you could spend 3 days in there all by yourself in that place, but that has to be something. And you know what else that we found very interesting was the Mint. We print all the money.
We drive right by on the way to the ballpark.
Yeah,
that's a very cool thing to see.
In fact, there's now a Steven Strasburg wing at the Mint,
who, by the way, is pitching tonight too against Cincinnati in Cincinnati.
But if you haven't been in the nation's capital, and the Capitol building obviously is the center of pretty much everything that goes down, and it's just a really, really interesting, cool building, and the history behind it is amazing, and the artists that worked on it, and you know how it burned down and was rebuilt, and it's just an amazing tour.
All right, hang around, Niner, because you're good at this. You filled in capably while Tommy was lounging about in Colorado. Here comes our
at his chalet
trivia question. Who has all-time Marlins? Who has the most home runs against the National League West? Now,
who's our go-to guy, Rich? Who's our go-to guy?
Last night we had a theory while we were watching you in the Fox Sports suite that you're the guy that submits these questions because more often than not, you're the answer to these questions.
That's what I said. I said I think Niner submits these questions.
The West, the Rockies are in the West.
Okay, so
I did
and that was
enjoy
before,
hitting.
That was before Humidor,
right? Oh yeah, no. Coors Field is hitting Nirvana. That is Shangri-La.
Yeah, but
for me.
But San Francisco wasn't really.
No, not really.
Dodger Stadium, not so much.
Not so much.
Jack Murphy.
Murphy was pretty good.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Arizona
good place to hit.
Arizona's good.
I only played there a couple games, so.
We have different go-to guys, you know, like the other night we had a trivia question concerning pitching and the Rockies and wins, and my go-to Rockies guy pitching is Pedro Estacio because he was there for a while.
Yeah, he was there for a long time.
Yeah.
What about Ugla? I mean, he's creeping up on the all-time home run list right now. He's had some great series against the Diamondbacks.
There's another go-to guy early on. I mean, Gary Sheffield hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah, that's a good offensive go-to guy.
Yeah.
At that point in the schedule when Sheffield was a Marlin, didn't you play more against the West than you do now?
Yes.
See, that's another
go out
thing.
there 2 times every year.
Yeah, that's another thing you have to consider.
Cantu up there with a count 0-1.
I'm going to trump myself and go with Gary Sheffield.
Well, is that sort of like allow myself the chance to introduce myself? All right, let's answer this thing.
Yeah, it's just going in another direction.
I'm going ugly.
I'll go with Niner. I mean, I think he submitted this one. Sheffield with 45. Hey, Miguel Cabrera. I'm sure Dan Uggla's moving up on the list, but your point is a good one, Rich. The fact that you don't play those teams as many times.
That's true. That with this unbalanced schedule, you only play the West in 2 series, where it used to be you played them a lot more. Those were the days.
Those were the days.
Years ago, this was even before your scheduling. Years ago, you would go, the East Coast teams would go to the West Coast twice, and they would play San Diego, L.A., San Francisco. That 3-game series, then those teams would come back east, then you'd go back and do that
We
again.
did that too.
Yeah.
We did that first stint with the Marlins. Before Interleague came into play, we would go out to the West Coast 2 times a year.
I like that better.
Yeah.
I mean, I've enjoyed interleague play. I think it's kind of run its course right now, and I like more balanced scheduling to see those teams on the West a little bit more.
Cody Ross fouls that one into the seats. So we're at 3,100 right now for our DC trip package. There's the number, 305-623-6497. We'll close the bidding. Final out. Final out, 7th inning. Marlins.com/fantasy, item 2. And we've got the add-ons of a Mike Stanton autographed bat and a private tour, behind-the-scenes tour of the Capitol building, courtesy of Jeff Conine's personal friend. And by the way, most hits against the National League West, Jeff Conine would be the answer, if that were the question. Thanks, Niner.
All right, Niners.
Jiffy Lube Fiesta Friday on the 23rd at 7:10. The Marlins and the Braves. Billy Bingo will give you 2,500 winners getting a Marlins floppy hat courtesy of Metro PCS. Pick up a 4 for $54 pack. Get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, 2 programs starting at $54. 1-877 Marlins, the number to call. It's been a cast of thousands here. Tonight's been a good show and a good game.
Been a great cast.
And it's been a great game for Ricky Nolasco. I mean, Nolasco tonight has been just outstanding.
And by the way, have you noticed subtly Jim Tracy doing what Edwin Rodriguez had to do last night, leaving Hamill in there, left him in there to hit, even though the score's 5-0, because he needs to get a little rest in his bullpen as well.
Yeah, because the Rockies not only have a game tomorrow at noon against the Marlins, they go to Philadelphia where they open the series against Roy Halladay. Then I think they get Cole Hamels.
So they get Josh Johnson and Roy Halladay back-to-back games.
Brian Doherty taking a look at the ball game.
The Doc.
One of the more indispensable members of our crack staff.
They're everywhere.
He was the guy the other day, and you missed it, who was after the ice cream when the Bluebell. You missed it, Tommy. It was a National Ice Cream Day.
How could I miss something that pertains to ice cream?
The Bluebell guy pulled up with a carload of ice cream, and the production staff and the crack staff down there raided the truck, and Brian was first in line, that's for sure. And Ricky Nolasco tonight, 6 strikeouts and a walk. See here, look, there he is. Where's mine? Bluebell guy says, oh, got you right here. To right field, Stan comes charging in. Mike slides and makes the catch. That, my friends, is the wide receiver corner skills that got him a scholarship offer to USC.
Well, you heard Andre Dawson talking about it earlier. One of the biggest surprises is the improvement that everybody's seen in the defense of Mike Stanton, and that's because he works at it. He works at it every day, and that's a terrific play there.
Well, this has been a hitter, one of the best hitters the Rockies have, maybe the best hitter that the Rockies have right now, Carlos Gonzalez, that Ricky has struck out twice. And both strikeout pitches, Tommy, the changeup that started over the plate and died low and away. And you can see the frustration that Gonzalez has right now.
Well, you've seen a lot of off-speed stuff. You've seen a couple of good changeups, and also, like that last pitch, that good curveball.
There's a change that runs outside. Join us in Miller High Life this summer. Help returning vets get a piece of the High Life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for details. Ground ball, Cantu stabs it, little flip, Ugla drops it. And it's not on the transfer, the Marlins won't get the out. Ugla says, or at least is lobbying for that, but Bill Welke won't give it to him.
I think a little mistake that Dan Ugla may have made here was thinking that he could get two. He had no chance for a double play. Instead of just stretching out as if a first baseman would do on a throw. Look like he was thinking of turning a double play. Wasn't the best of throws. It's going to be a fielder's choice, and unfortunately Jorge Cantu is going to be charged with the error. Now they've changed it. It was a catchable ball, and it's Dan Ugla's error.
Let's see if Nolasco can pitch around this mistake. Remember, the Marlins last night made a big error. It was Nate Robertson in the 3rd inning. Jorge Cantu made an error on Monday nights on a routine ball. That was not a routine play, but you're right. Marlins, at the very least, should have had at least an out there. Two-0 pitch. Right on the black. Our DC trip, Tommy, is up to $3,300. Final out, 7th inning. 305-623-6497. We thank all of you who have been bidding tonight. The proceeds, of course, go to the Marlins Community Foundation. All of the money that the Marlins Community Foundation raises goes right back into the youth of South Florida. Giambi fouls it back. So Ricky has come back now to go 2-2 against Jason Giambi. Todd Helton was supposed to come off the disabled list tonight, but Jim Tracy saw his batting practice in the first game of the series, didn't like what he saw, and wants to wait till the weekend. Giambi lifts that one to center. It's well hit. Back goes Cody. Track wall reaches. He's got it! Cody Ross! Wow! With the ball carrying to center field, Ross in full flight. Last minute reaches up.
Night after night, we see Gold Glove defense from Cody Ross. We saw him earlier play a double, play the carom perfectly off the wall. That time, well-timed, gracefully done, and there to make the grab.
Nolasco throws a strike. You can hear the fans chanting Cody. It's a good, lively crowd tonight. This is one of my favorite promotions that the Marlins do. It's the $7.90 the ticket, $7.90 box seat night. We always seem to get a good, lively bunch at the ballpark on those nights.
So you're right, a good crowd, and they're seeing a good game.
A gem right now from Nolasco. Even Chewy has his mouth wide open in awe.
I think Chewy has a better seat tonight, too.
Nice.
Thanks to $7.90 the ticket.
Counts 0-2. He's been pretty steady.
Well, we talked about Ricky, 4 of his last 5 starts. He's gone 7 innings. A little overthrow on that fastball, trying to put away Brad Hopp. After throwing that high fastball, let's see if he tries to put him away with something off speed.
1-2 to Hop. That one just dipped under the glove of Brad Davis. I mean, Ricky has been outstanding. Remember, he's working with a catcher making his major league debut,
using John Baker's catcher's mitt. So this is how you judge the way Brad Davis has handled Ricky Nolasco. You haven't even noticed him back there. He's done a terrific job.
Ground ball. Ugla has it. Funnel. Feet. Flip. Follow.
Always have to funnel.
Mike Stanton. Cody Ross. Great stuff tonight. climb. Enjoy a Corona today. The Other Guys, starring Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. And by TGI Fridays. Come on in and try our new Caribbean summer menu.
Why do I laugh every time I see Will Ferrell in a movie?
Here's Mike Stanton with Brad Davis and Ricky Nolasco.
Didn't Will Ferrell help out on the home run derby?
You're my boy, Blue. Yeah. Mike Stanton has doubled and struck out. Ryan Spilborghs is out in center field. Carlos Gonzalez, I believe, had a hand injury early in this series. Barmes is really good at shortstop. I mean, I know Tulowitzki is one of the best in the business, but Barmes isn't far behind. Get on the fun of Baker Concrete Super Saturday on the 24th, featuring a postgame concert with Sean Diddy Combs following a fireworks spectacular. Marlins and Braves at 7:10. Fans get a Marlins rally drum. 1-877 Marlins. By the way, we're up to $3,600 now as the high bidder on the D.C. trip. And we will announce the winner of the D.C. trip, Brad Davis. Oh, man, a line drive. That had first big league hit written all over it. Instead, it's the second out, and we look at the Marlins schedule brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Set your alarm clocks, everybody. I know, Tommy, you and I have to get up early for this one. It is a noon start tomorrow, high noon for Josh Johnson. As the Marlins look forward to tomorrow, you can live forward with Just for Men Hair Color. Velasco takes the ball. 18,332, the attendance tonight.
Yeah, usually we're not in rush hour traffic. We may find ourselves in a little rush hour traffic. So, Rich, allow time. Allow a little more time.
Jason Hamill, after giving up the 5 runs in the first 2 innings, has done exactly what Jim Tracy has asked him to do, and that's suck up innings. 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. Ricky pops one up. Shallow right. It's Herrera. To the 7th we go. 5-0 Fish.
y es presentado por KFC. Y un saludo a nuestros colegas.
Gentlemen, how
Hi,
are
Rich.
ya?
Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Richie, Tommy, how you guys doing?
Saludos, amigos.
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están?
Bien, bien. Y Ricky Nolasco, el lanzador muy bueno.
Excelente labor que está haciendo esta noche, sin duda.
Well, you lost me there. So sorry.
No, I just said he's doing a great job without a doubt.
Good. Okay.
There you go. Duda means doubt.
We're working on that. Chris Iannetta is up. How about this for a kid making his Major League debut, guys? Brad Davis catching a shutout right now from Ricky Nolasco.
I think he's done a great job behind the plate, mixing everything, and the way he gives the target is way low, keeping everything down and changing speeds. He's done a great job behind the plate.
It's a shame that Herrera caught that line drive. It would have been also nice to see him get his first hit here tonight.
Yeah, he hit the ball well. Yeah, a lot of times the catcher will say, hitting is important, but they want to be back there and handle the pitcher, and he's done a great job handling Ricky.
No question about it.
I think Cookie, it's been good, too, that we've seen him the last few years in spring training. Brad Davis has been invited to spring camp, so he's had a chance to catch a lot of these guys.
Well, I think that's an advantage for a young player like he does, especially behind the plate in the middle of the season, just to be called up last night and all of a sudden, facing one of the best clubs in the league in their division and doing a great job calling a great pitch.
And he smothers that one.
Ahí ponchando
Nolasco
a Iannetta.
Gets his 7th strikeout.
That's the kind of Ricky Nolasco that we should be used to. He's got great command of his curveball today. His changeup and his fastball were well located in the plate. And that's the way he should pitch every time. I mean, he's no question about it that a pitcher that should be at double figures all the time here in our club.
Well, he had a good chance tonight to win his 10th game.
That is correct.
Here's Ian Stewart, who has doubled and struck out.
Y ahí otro lanzamiento rompiente.
See, when he has that curveball working, boy, he makes it a lot of difficult to hit.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a good show.
You too, guys.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Thank you.
We'll see them tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, you saw Brad Davis smother that third strike to Iannetta. And that was one of the things that we were told that he does so well.
One. As we look at the Rockies bullpen, Manuel Corpus, you think about a guy that throws a curveball from the opposite side. The Rockies are stacked with left-handed bats, but Ricky's curveball is so good that the lefties have a hard time with it as well. Did he go? Yes, he did.
And again, blocking the ball, keeping it out in front to put the tag on the hitter, Ian Stewart.
Nice job by Brad Davis.
Tell you what, Ricky's locked in the way he was locked in Atlanta last year.
That's a great call. All right, Coors Light freeze cam. Freeze it. Like Stanton. It's just like a touchdown catch here. Oh, Cody Ross. Nice. Frost Brewed Coors Light freeze cam. Pop up infield. Who wants it? Davis is out. Gabby is in. Gabby makes the catch. We are at 4,500 right now, Tommy. 4,500 for the DC trip.
Got another half inning.
3 more outs. 623-6497. 3 games, 2 nights at the team hotel. Adam Dunn will throw gum at you. You get to come to the booth. We've thrown in a Mike Stanton bat, possibly a meet and greet with Teddy Roosevelt, but certainly a meet and greet with some Marlins players and Nationals players when you're down on the field during batting practice. Jeff Conine has thrown in a super secret backstage tour of the Capitol building. Coughlin lines one into left field. That's a good sign. Chris has walked twice tonight and now is 1 for 2. So what, have I missed anything here, huh?
Yeah, we can't guarantee a Steven Strasburg start. For a couple reasons. We don't know the rotation, and for another reason, we don't know if he'll be shut down by then because he's thrown too many innings. He's pitching tonight. Last I checked, he had a 3-1 lead over the Reds, but we can't guarantee that. But you know what? All those things are just outstanding, and it's just going to be a great time, a great weekend.
Will the cherry blossoms be gone by then?
Yeah, I don't know if we can guarantee that.
Okay. But we are guaranteeing that you're going to have a great time. We're staying right downtown Washington, D.C. at the Mayflower. Gabby, 3-run homer in the second, line to deep center in the fourth. And he fouls that pitch back. You get to go around town. Craig will take you around town. Maybe he'll get on one of those buses, you know, where you sit up on the roof and tour the downtown.
Yeah.
We're 4 blocks from the White House.
Yeah.
We're about 6-7 blocks away from the mall, which has all the monuments and the memorials.
I am not getting on the Ducky, though.
No,
no, that's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's Philly, and they had an accident recently.
No duck.
No duck.
No duck. Throw to first. Craig, on your tour, where would you stop? You going to go to the monuments, to the memorial?
Yeah, I think there's even a shot we can go with Niner on that special secretive tour.
That's good.
Got to hit there's so many great spots. I hope we can get it all in. But we'll shoot it also. We'll run a little story.
Yeah,
as an added bonus.
That's the other thing is you'll get on television.
Yes.
And Craig, every time we shoot one of those on television and you've got a guest, you're usually eating something, right?
Absolutely. Last year we were at the Shake Shack.
Shake Shack, yeah.
Recent years we went to Philadelphia. Was it Luke's?
You've been to Tony
Luke's, the cheesesteaks.
Geno's or Pat's.
I haven't tried this great chili Tommy's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Ben's Chili Bowl.
Maybe we'll go there.
That's in the ballpark.
I usually like that in the middle of a skiing day.
Yeah, tough to eat the Ben's.
Snow in September.
Tough to eat the chili when it's about 95 degrees.
That's more of a slope thing, but we cannot promise any skiing on this trip.
No, it's a great time, and the fact that you get to come down on the field and watch batting practice for a game, and we'll be down there to greet you and bring some players over. I know the Hammer will come over and say hello. Maybe we get Adam Dunn to throw gum at you. Maybe we get Adam Dunn to autograph one of those Jeff Conine model bats. That was the story this weekend. That when Niner was a Cincinnati Red, he introduced Adam Dunn to that model of bat, and Dunn still uses that model of bat. So I'll bet we could lean on Adam Dunn for maybe an autographed bat. And, of course, we've thrown in a Mike Stanton bat into the mix as well. After the final out, we will close the bidding, and a little later on tonight we will announce the winners. You can start making your plans and reservations and all that. In fact, I think, Tommy, it's a Friday night.
That's a weekend series.
And a Saturday afternoon game. So you'll get a Saturday night out in Washington, D.C. Yes, it is. It's a 1:05 start.
Great restaurants
on Saturday.
There's a wonderful restaurant called the Ebbets Grill. It's a great place to eat.
Gabby waiting. Coghlan's at first. It's amazing how much better this offense looks with that man over at first base.
Yeah, and you made a good point. The fact that he has the one hit, but he's had good at-bats, and he's walked twice. He's been on base 3 times.
And I think that's a great sign for Chris because he's starting to identify strikes again. Gabby chops it towards third. Stewart out there. Safe there. Good hustle by Sanchez. For those of you that have missed it, here you go. Our Land Rover game summary. A lot of Ricky here tonight. Ricky Nolasco looking for win number 10.
Tell you, Ricky moving up on lots of lists. Ricky tonight with 8 strikeouts has 601 in his career. And we've thrown in a little offense for you. Dan Ugla, who's been a little dormant in the RBI department. Jorge Cantu with a double and an RBI. And how about the big blast? Gabby Sanchez, 10th home run of the year. A 3-run shot into that blue tarp area in center field.
Here's Hanley now with 1 out. Ball's in the air. Shallow right. And it's Herrera who makes the catch. Tommy, the bidding right now is at 4,600. So 1 more out, and we close the bidding. $4,600 for that DC trip. And again, we appreciate all of you that supported the auction and the chance to sell this item again tonight. And we hope you've had as much fun with it as we have. And we've raised, I think last check we raised over $80,000 for the Marlins Community Foundation. Our sponsors again were Tommy Bahama and South Florida Ford dealers.
Boy, always great to have Ford and Tommy Bahama aboard.
Here's Ugla.
And just think, if we didn't have Tommy Bahama aboard, we'd be up here shirtless. And that would be scary.
It would be an FCC violation. $5,000, Tommy Hudd. I got $5,000.
That's great.
$5,000 now. Ugla sends that one out to left center. 5,000 once, 5,000 twice. They will close the phones now. We'll have our winners when we return. Marlins need him in center field. But if you visit any participating South Florida Jiffy Lube, register for the Play Catch with Cody sweepstakes. You can win 1 year of free oil changes, plus the chance to play catch with Cody and more. Visit Jiffy Lube for details. Jiffy Lube, the official oil change of the Marlins. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini. John Sulzer is our producer. Mike Rubin, our director tonight. Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. Dexter Fowler is the hitter. And it's the top of the 8th inning. The Marlins with Ricky in control. Ricky had the look of a pitcher when he came in the dugout after that 7th inning. A look of a pitcher that wanted to finish the ball game.
It's almost as if he had that look don't even think about it. I've got this one. And right now, Ricky's at 92 pitches, so a lot of it depends on this inning.
Fowler hitting in the pitcher spot. Rockies ended up getting 7 from Hamill, which is enormous and may have an impact on tomorrow's game because the Marlins have Josh Johnson. Jorge De La Rosa goes for the Rockies.
And I'll tell you another thing that may have an impact on tomorrow's game. Carlos Gonzalez left the game with a bruised left index finger.
Yeah, we talked about that. He had the hand injury, and it was sore at the start of the series. That's a big bat in their lineup.
A big left-handed bat
against JJ. We will have the totals and the names for you momentarily. Our auction is closed for the night. We're going to have some company in D.C. and Ricky walks Dexter Fowler. That was not in the game plan for Ricky.
No, especially thinking to try to complete this thing.
Now he's got the top of the order, Seth Smith and Jonathan Herrera. And then he's got Ryan Spilborghs, who is in Gonzalez's spot. Big swing and a miss. And it's 0-1. Smith, the former Ole Miss Rebel, the backup quarterback. Allison had that story. The Rockies have 2 Manning backups. Smith, Eli is backup at Ole Miss, and Helton, Peyton's backup at Tennessee. That ball is crushed. Right center field, and that ball is gone. A 2-run shot off of Nolasco. Don't go anywhere. Remember, we told you the Rockies are the comeback kings in baseball. They made a late charge on Monday night and nearly ruined the night were it not for Donnie Murphy.
Yeah, remember how quickly they put together runs last night. Middle of the plate. Fastball drifted out over in a great hitting area for Seth Smith, his 13th home run of the year. I'll tell you, this guy has always hit the Marlins, and if he didn't play in the West, he might be on the all-time Marlins killer team. Came into this game hitting over 420 against the Marlins. 3rd career home run against the Fish.
Here's Jonathan Herrera. And Herrera takes a strike. Another strike right at the knees. Herrera hit that unbelievable home run on Monday. A guy that it was his first major league homer and had not even hit a home run in batting practice all year long. 100 pitches for Nolasco. Hits that one down the right field line. Stanton over for it. And Mike is there and makes the catch. And we check in with Craig Minervini.
Thanks, Rich. Chris Coughlin told me he's catching more baseballs this year in left field, doing something that he learned from the Marlin coaching staff and from Cody Ross that he did not do last year. And it's kind of a subtle thing, but Cody really showed it on his catch earlier in the game, that fantastic catch at center. And that is turning your head away from the ball and making a grab. When Cody started running, he put his head down and he ran to the area where he thought the ball would be. By doing that, you go full speed and you can get the baseball. And Cody's been great at this over the years. But Chris Coughlin told me he did not do that last year. It's kind of nerve-wracking because when you lose the ball and you're running, you got to pick it up somewhere. And it's kind of scary. But he learned that craft, and his pal over in center is one of the best at it.
A couple of things. As an infielder, going to the outfielder is probably a little scary for Coughlin to take his eye off the ball. The other time, there's really one time where hard to do that at twilight time. If you take your eye off the ball and lose it, it's tough to pick it up. But that's a great point, though, with Cody, an experienced outfielder. You see a lot of guys who are Gold Glove outfielders. They just run right to where they think that ball's going to be. Then they lift up their head and pick it up.
High pop, Ugla. And Dan is there and makes the catch. The Spilborgs pops out. Up comes Giambi. Time now for our Jaguar performance of the game. You want performance? You got Ricky Nolasco, who through the first 7 innings was nearly untouchable. 8 strikeouts, just the 1 walk. Nolasco here in the 8th has walked another and given up a 2-run homer to Seth Smith, but is trying to finish the inning. Ricky at 106 pitches. He faces Giambi for the 4th time.
Boy, he gets him with a fastball first pitch for a foul ball and drops in that nice curveball on the 3rd pitch, and all of a sudden it's 1-2.
Line smash! Gabby with a diving catch. The 3rd out of the 8th inning. Ricky Nolasco gets through 8. Some help from Gabby, whose 3-run homer was a big one in this one. Fives and all of that. So 8 strong innings. Our Toyota trend, all time at home. The Marlins have been shut out by 10 or more runs 7 times. But in their next game, and this would be included, they were shut out last night 10-0. They are 5-1, trying to go to 6-1. Manuel Corpus. Bring the baseball here. A fastball that misses outside to Jorge Cantu with Cody Ross and Mike Stanton. Well, fastballs and sliders mainly from Manuel Corpus. Into right field, a base hit. Cantu with his 2nd hit of the night. And he is 2 for 3, and the out that he made was a line drive to center.
That's a good sign. Jorge Cantu had a base hit last night and had a couple of base hits and an RBI in the first game of this series.
Here's Cody Ross now. And Emilio Bonifacio is going to run for Cantu. Marlins taking nothing for granted here. A chance to get some speed at first with nobody out. Chance maybe to run on Corpus. Cody's hit the ball hard a couple times. He's lined out twice and struck out.
And there is Bonifacio.
Corpus, kind of a three-part move there, but I think we saw that the other night when he was in. If you step off and then make the turn, you don't have to throw or be fluid.
Yeah, he kind of broke that down in 3 parts.
Marlins had their closer getting ready. Leo Nunez playing long toss right now. And Bonifacio chase back. 5-2 Fish, a chance to go up in this series 2-1 with the finale tomorrow at noon. Josh Johnson gets a lefty that at times has given the Marlins trouble.
Yeah, the career high in strikeouts for De La Rosa is 12, and he did that against the Marlins.
He did it last year in May, and he beat the Marlins this year in April.
He's one of those guys, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. He's one of those guys you have to really be patient with, and he can get wild.
Ross takes a strike. JJ, of course, looking for win number 11 tomorrow. De La Rosa's 3-2. He just came off the disabled list. Spent 2.5 months on the DL with a torn tendon in one of his fingers on a throwing hand. Pitch out. 1-1. Cody hammers that one. It's one of those nights, Tommy, where you look at Cody in the box score and he's 0 for 3, but it doesn't show you how he has swung the bat.
Well, and also the impact he's had on the game with a couple of nice plays he's made in center field.
Runner goes. He is safe. Got by the tag, held on with his left hand. Nifty bit of base running by Bonifacio.
Yeah, it was a good slide. It was actually a closer play than I thought it would be. Iannetta made a strong throw. A little bit low, so Herrera had to come and get it. And by doing so, he had to reach back to try to tag Bonifacio.
Whoa, I think he got his batting. Well, I think his foot was on the bag by then, though.
That was close.
That was close. Because you naturally saw his left hand, which held onto the bag, but it looked like his foot got to the bag before his hand did. Cody drives it to left field. Smith goes back to the track. Makes the catch. Bonifacio tags. He's headed for third. He's going to get there.
That's where pinch running for Jorge Cantu pays off. Because a lot of runners, most runners on a fly ball to left field, even though it was near the warning track, are not going to be able to tag up and go to second to third with that play right in front of him. And Bonifacio knows his speed. He knows the arm of Seth Smith. Checks everything out. watches the fly ball, goes back and tags up, and makes it without a play.
That makes this a nice at bat for Mike Stanton now. With the infield in, Stanton looking for a ball he can hit in the air. And Corpus does a nice job of jamming him. Major League debut tonight. Brad Davis may get a shot to drive in a run.
You know, the other reason Brad Davis is in there tonight, arriving so quickly, because Edwin Rodriguez wanted Ronnie Paulino to catch JJ. And he wanted to give Ronnie one of these games off.
Stan took a shot at that high fastball.
Yeah, that was a good pitch to go after. I know the count at the time was 1-2, but a good pitch to hit with a man on third.
Got him. Corpus with a nasty slider. And Stanton strikes out. So it's up to Davis now to get this run in with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. His first time up, there was a runner at second and nobody out, and he tried to move the runner up, and he hit the ball to the right side. The problem was he hit a line drive on one hop to the second baseman, and the runner, Mike Stanton, had to freeze at second. Then he walked. Then he hit a screaming liner that Herrera, the second baseman, jumped up and grabbed. And so Davis still looking for his first big league hit.
Well, why not make his first big league hit a meaningful one? Drive in a run, a little insurance run.
Oh, and 1. Hop up, going to find the seats. Copyright telecast presented by The Fish. May not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Iannetta sets up outside. He gets a fastball that misses. 1-2.
A couple years back, Corpus saved 19 games for the Rockies.
Struck him out. Fastball inside corner. Marlins leave that runner at third. We'll see if Leo Nunez can shut the door on the Rockies. On top of the Rockies. First, our third baseman now, Wes Helms. As Helms takes over for Emilio Bonifacio, pinch ran for Jorge Cantu.
Next, we introduce to you
Leo Nunez,
trying to pick up save number 23.
As the Marlins and the Rockies get into the ninth. And Nunez opens with Brad Hopp and a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Hopp, Iannetta, and Stewart.
I think that first pitch right there is an indication of the little change that Leo Nunez has made. That first pitch fastball for a strike. They can't just rear back and throw it down the middle of the plate, but it really sets up that changeup.
Remember how last year there was a time where his first pitch fastball was a pitch guys were jumping on?
Yeah, and hitting for home runs.
And then this year it became the changeup that he was getting hurt with. And so Davis had to talk with Nunez. Counts 1-2.
Yeah, last year Leo Nunez allowed 13 home runs. That was a little over 68 innings.
Tied for the most in the National League with Kevin Gray of the Cubs. Nunez last appeared on Sunday when he saved a 1-0 win over Washington. Marlins really haven't had a chance to use him in this series. Of course, they had the walk-off homer from Donnie Murphy on Monday and were shut out 10-0 last night. Different story tonight. 5-2 Fish. There's that changeup.
If the Marlins and Donnie Murphy get through this game, it'll be a nice night for the bullpen to get them ready, if needed tomorrow or certainly over the weekend against the Atlanta Braves. Marlins will see Derek Lowe, Chris Medlin, and Jair Jurgens in that Brave series.
Change up finally got him. Hop proved to be a tough out. Marlins Live is coming up. Ricky rocks again. Remember, he beat the Rockies earlier this year. Big hit by Gabby early on. And we'll look towards tomorrow morning. Brunch with the Fish. We start things at 11:30 with Marlins Live. Josh Johnson will throw first pitch on camp day at 12:10.
Little bagels and cream cheese and eggs Benedict. Some of your special pancakes.
That's right. Chris Iannetta. Two and one. Iannetta, the former Tar Heel. Ground ball in the hole. Hanley backhands from shallow left. Got him. Last step.
Nice. That's nice because that ball came up on him. Took a little tricky hop right at the end, and Hanley stayed with it. What's his hop here? He's down. Now he has to come up a little bit. Fox Exmo shows you that all the way. And then got something on the throw. Knew he had a little time. Iannetta doesn't run that well. And completed the play.
Strike one to Ian Stewart. I told you at the outset that this was a very big 24 hours for the Marlins. Game tonight with Ricky on the mound against one of the wild card leaders. Game tomorrow at noon with JJ on the mound. The Rockies have been hot. Our Ford spotlight shines on that man, the pride of Miami. Former Hurricane hit a 3-run homer in the second inning. Nunez buries that one low and inside. We have our auction winners and names, and we'll announce them on Marlins Live. Some folks headed to Washington, D.C. for a road trip with the Fish. That one is lined towards the line. Stanton plays it off the wall. Ian Stewart pulls in with a double. This one not done yet.
Second double of the game for Ian Stewart.
Clint Barmas was scheduled. Looks like Melvin Mora with a bat.
Now Jim Tracy trying to get a little of that hot Melvin Mora bat of last night. Melvin Mora last night 3 for 5. 3-run double and a 2-run homer at 5 RBIs.
So Leo goes to work on Mora. And a fastball that misses up. Melvin Mora with the big night last night. His 5 runs driven in equaled the number he had over his previous 34 games combined. In fact, the only other player as old as Mora to have a 5 RBI game this year, 39-year-old Greg Zahn, who I believe has retired.
Yeah, he got injured shortly after that. And I think when he found out he was going to miss the entire season.
He called it a career. At the knees. 94 miles an hour. It's 1-2. 18,332 coming to their feet. Big Brad Eldred pulls in on deck. They'd like to see Nunez close this one out for Ricky Nolasco. Leo ready, 1-2 coming. Change up, Davis smothers it. Ian Stewart's at second. Melvin Mora with a 2-2 count. And here it comes. He's missed with 2 changeups. So now it's 3-2. Has the veteran Mora waited him out to get a fastball here?
You know, you get to a point, and this is a decision Brad Davis, Leo Nunez are going to have to make. Which pitch does he feel he has most command of? Because you don't want to walk a guy here and bring the tying run to the plate.
3-2. Oh, he did. And that one almost knocked Davis over. And now you bring up Eldred, and now you bring up the tying run. That is Exhibit A of flat overthrowing. So here's the local kid, Brad Eldred. Talked to him before the ball game. Very nice guy, very happy to be back in the big leagues. First got to the big leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But a guy that can hit the ball a long ways. Ground ball foul.
He got that first pitch changeup.
Andy Ramirez in for a little chat with Nunez. 2-out double by Stewart. Walk to Mora. That was a changeup, and now it's 0-2.
And remember, Leo got the first 2 hitters.
Do you triple up with a changeup?
I'm not so sure because Eldred didn't have a bad swing at that one. I think if you throw a fastball, you show it to him, then you come back with a changeup. But again, Leo kind of pitches a little backwards at times. If he feels he has best command of the changeup, he'll throw that.
0-2 coming. Fastball. Elevated it. Now let's see what he does off that pitch. Eldred is the tying run with 2 outs in the 9th. Change up. 0-2.
Tell you what, Brad Eldred is giving Leo Nunez a pretty good battle. He's fouled off some tough pitches, a couple of fastballs, some changeups.
Another 0-2. Now it's 1-2, and that was another changeup.
Sometimes Leo will go with that changeup, get some movement on it, and has it come back over the outside corner. That one was just too far off.
Outfield very deep. Got him! Ball game. Marlins win it. Not without a struggle. But the Fish win. They make it a 5-2 win, and they put themselves in a position to win this series with their ace on the mound at high noon tomorrow. And maybe the Marlins are starting one of those runs that they have failed to get on all season long. The Fish win it. Back to 2 games under at 46-48. We'll put some finishing touches on this one after this.